Listen, if secondhand embarrassment had a royal title, these two would be wearing it like a crown. Because every time Meghan and Harry step in front of a camera, something goes sideways, a slip, a flex, a cringe moment that turns into a headline, and suddenly the internet is eating popcorn like it's a live event. And the wild part, it's not even one moment. It's a pattern, a glittery, overproduced pattern that keeps exposing the cracks. Let's start with the kind of oops that doesn't look like an accident. It looks like someone forgot their own script for half a second. Meghan is telling a sweet, familiar story, bedtime books for the kids. Fine, normal, safe. The kind of things celebrities say when they want to look relatable and warm. But then she pushes it further. She claims that when she travels, she records herself reading the stories so the children can watch later. And that's when the entire polished vibe stumbles.
Make it a point when I'm traveling, if I can't do bedtime stories with my kids, because Archie and Lily are just 3 and 5, so I'll always pack a really thin book and I'll videotape myself reading it. So whoever's with them, Papa can say, here's Mama reading your bedtime story. You find ways to show up for each other.
Because she accidentally lets the truth peek out, she says the maids put the kids to bed, then rushes to patch it up with Papa is with them. That frantic little correction is what makes people's eyebrows shoot up. It's not the nanny part that stings. Lots of wealthy families have help. It's the panic pivot. Like the image cracked for a second and she tried to glue it back together mid-sentence. And viewers? Oh, they did not let it slide. The reaction is basically, girl, just say there's a nanny. Nobody's mad at that. But why are you acting like it's a scandal? Because that's the thing. When you're always curating perfection, the smallest slip feels like a major leak. Now, right after that, the next embarrassing moment hits a totally different nerve. The royal title situation. Remember when Harry and Meghan left royal duties, they publicly positioned it like a clean break. New life, new rules, no clinging to the old system, and one big point people remember is that they wouldn't ride the royal branding for perks.
Drop something off.
All of a sudden, you dropped off this gift basket with ice creams, homemade strawberry sauce to put on top of the ice cream, just to see if that helps lighten my lip.
But then a podcast story drops. The host reveals Meghan sent a gift basket, and inside is a card signed with compliments of Ishrat, the Duchess of Sussex. And instantly critics pounce because to them it screams, you quit the job but kept the badge. The backlash writes itself. If you agreed not to use it, why is it showing up in your private branding? People call it royal perks without royal responsibility, wanting the glow without the grind, the clout without the duty. And whether you agree or not, you can't deny it's the kind of detail that makes the audience feel like they're watching a constant tug of war between we're free. But don't forget who we are. And then we arrive at the moment that made a lot of viewers physically recoil, the Ellen hidden camera pranks.
I'm a kitten, mew, mew, mew. You're a kitten, you're a kitten, mew, mew, mew. Kwame, you sing it too.
Kwame, yeah, mew, 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 mew. Goodness.
Okay, now drink it. Okay, I'm gonna go to the next.
Because imagine the whiplash. 1 minute, you're presenting yourself as serious, wronged, traumatized, misunderstood, and the next minute, you're on daytime TV, being instructed to squat in public, drink from a baby bottle, and shout ridiculous phrases at strangers. That's not lighthearted fun to many people, it's pure cringe. Like watching someone with a carefully managed image agree to get played for laughs in the most awkward way possible. And the commentary around it gets sharp. How do you position yourself as deeply wounded by public pressure, then gleefully sign up for the kind of segment that invites public mockery? People didn't just judge the prank, they judged the contradiction. Then comes another tiny moment that's like a blink and you'll miss it exposure. The seriousness evaporating the second the cameras want a performance. The vibe is basically when it's time for public sympathy, it's heavy. When it's time for attention and airtime, suddenly the tone flips and the dignity goes out the window. And that's why the reactions can be so brutal, because the audience feels like they're being toggled between two completely different characters.
Bounce up and down, you're very excited. I can't wait.
I can't wait.
Eat it like a little chipmunk.
Now, let's talk about the Netflix festive content, because this one is the type of embarrassing that doesn't come from a slip up, it comes from trying too hard. The episode is meant to feel cozy and relatable, but viewers say it lands staged and unnatural. Meghan explains how to make Christmas crackers like she invented them, then drops the detail about putting love letters inside Harry's crackers like it's a jaw-dropping secret and not just a cute thing some couples do. And critics, they laugh because making crackers isn't exactly rocket science. The bigger issue is that it all reads like performance, like the show is begging you to see authenticity, and instead you see production. And then the knife twist, the narration claims reviewers were generous, even giving it 2 stars, and that Harry himself looked uncomfortable. Like he's sitting there questioning how his life became an endless string of awkward TV moments.
Should we see if this works? There we go.
2, 3.
Oh!
I was rather surprised to learn that she seems to have invented the cracker, which I thought had been invented by somebody called Thomas Smith in 1806. But we saw her doing all those sort of things. I mean, what she seems to always do is present things as if no one's ever done them before.
Because after the cringe category comes the damage category, explosive interviews, claims and counterclaims, moments that didn't just make people laugh, they made relationships collapse, headlines explode, and reputations calcify. The next stretch includes the most polarizing moments, the allegations that shook the monarchy conversation, the rehearsed love story controversy, the obsession accusations, Harry's oversharing on live TV, the security fight, and the moments where the audience watched him smile through the discomfort like he couldn't stop the train even if he wanted to. Now, this is where the story stops being cringe funny and starts turning uncomfortable. Because these next appearances didn't just make people laugh or roll their eyes, they changed how the world looked at them. These were the moments where sympathy fractured, alliances snapped, and the audience realized this wasn't just bad TV, it was self-inflicted damage. Let's start with the interview that still refuses to die. The Oprah sit-down didn't feel spontaneous, it felt strategic. Carefully paced pauses. Emotional beats landing right on cue. Meghan telling her story with tear-ready composure, Harry nodding like a witness instead of a husband. But the real shock wasn't the claims themselves, it was how many of them were later questioned, corrected, or quietly walked back. Suddenly, the narrative shifted from truth bomb to, wait, what? And once doubt enters the room, it never leaves. Viewers noticed something else too. Harry barely spoke. When he did, it felt rehearsed, restrained, like he'd been told exactly when to jump in. Critics said he looked less like a prince defending his family and more like a supporting actor in someone else's script. And that perception, it stuck. Then came the engagement interview flashback, the one people went back to with new eyes. Remember Meghan saying she knew nothing about the royal family, that she hadn't Googled Harry, that she didn't understand what she was walking into? At the time, it sounded charming. Later, it sounded impossible. The internet did what it always does, receipts. Old interviews, blog posts, photos, and suddenly that innocent line became one of the most replayed, mocked clips of all. Not because people hated her, but because they felt played. Now shift to Harry, because his TV moments take a different kind of turn oversharing. When Harry talks, he doesn't tease, he dumps. Therapy sessions, trauma details, family fights, body counts from military service, stuff people expect to stay private, especially from someone raised on royal restraint. Each interview peeled back more until viewers weren't thinking brave anymore, they were thinking, why is this all public? The discomfort wasn't just about what he said, it was about how permanent it all sounded. And then there's the love story problem. Every couple tells their story, but Harry and Meghan kept retelling it. Same beats, same phrases, same dramatic framing. Destiny, fate, against all odds. And after a while, critics started whispering something dangerous. Why does it sound rehearsed? When a love story starts sounding like branding, people stop feeling it. They start analyzing it. The Netflix documentary poured gasoline on that fire. Private footage suddenly very public. Text messages shown like evidence. Emotional moments packaged into episodes. And Harry, again, looking like he's watching his own life play out from the sidelines. Reviewers said it felt less like a documentary and more like a grievance reel, long, polished, and relentless. Then came the security interviews, and this is where public patience really thinned. Harry framing protection as a moral obligation, as something he was owed. Viewers snapped back, you left the job, you left the country, you kept the title, you want the benefits. That contradiction became the loudest criticism of all. Not cruel, logical. And once that argument landed, it overshadowed almost everything else. Finally, the moment people don't talk about enough, the smiles. Because in so many of these appearances, Harry smiles at the wrong time. During tension, during backlash, during moments that should look serious. And critics say it's not arrogance, it's resignation. Like, he knows the reaction is coming and there's nothing he can do to stop it. That's why these appearances rank as embarrassing, not because they're silly, but because they linger. They don't fade, they don't reset. Each one stacks on top of the last, building a reputation that's louder than any statement. And that's the final irony. The more they speak, the less control they seem to have over how they're seen.